Senator Young, you're up next, and followed by Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you, Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Werfel. Good to have you before the committee, and congratulations on your nomination. I've been overseeing the IRS for a number of years, and it's really unfortunate between targeting of particular taxpayers for their political beliefs and the backlog and returns. There's been a significant downward trend in terms of public trust for the IRS institutionally, and I think also in terms of service delivery. I've been seeing all kinds of problems. So I'm hoping you're the guy who can help turn all of this around. The IRS is receiving a substantial amount of money, $80 billion, and that's on top of their $12 billion a year typical budget. So we need to make sure that is used effectively and efficiently. So as it relates to funding, the IRS has had serious transparency issues over the years, and the garbage in, garbage out principle has applied to their dashboard of statistics at times. Some recent headlines trumpeting the vast improvements of the IRS's phone service based upon the IRS's so-called level of service statistic. National Taxpayer Advocate has indicated that this level of service statistic really cooks the books. It's not an accurate reflection of the genuine level of service. It omits the fact that the IRS call volumes are actually down significantly to date as compared to last year, nearly 41% overall. And all else being equal, if you have a lower number of phone calls, that will increase the level of service statistic. But what we've actually seen is the IRS has actually answered 200,000 fewer calls to date this year as compared to last year. So I'm hopeful that you can take a look at that statistic in isolation, but also attend to the other metrics to review performance. Mr. Werfel, I know measuring performance is important to you because we have discussed this. Do you agree that the IRS or any other federal agency should not be relying on this sort of flawed data to make decisions?
Senator, yeah, I think about I don't know that this data is flawed. I do know that it's really important that decisions that are made in tax administration or any government agency, that it's analytically robust, that there's an evidence base that guides it, that there's integrity in the information that's being reported publicly or being used behind closed doors to drive decision making. So if there are questions about the integrity of a particular metric,
right,
I will roll up sleeves and get to the bottom of it.
Great. Just making sure that you're embracing what I would regard as the right principle of administration. You don't have to speak to any particular statistic, but do you commit to me here that you will make sure that the IRS is only providing, disseminating, using unbiased and informative data? Yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to be unbiased in what we do.
Okay, thank you. TIGTA, you mentioned how important this Inspector General is to provision of services. They recently reported that in FY 2016, the IRS's digital interactions with taxpayers on average cost only 20 cents per interaction, whereas other types of interactions cost the IRS hundreds of times more. $42 per interaction through phones, $57 per interaction through correspondence, and $68 per interaction at a taxpayer assistance center. I think that's somewhat intuitive, right? Not all interactions the IRS has with taxpayers can or even should be digitally based. They certainly acknowledge that, but there's a massive backlog of processing that needs to occur of returns. And that to me is sort of showcased in very stark terms that the current systems aren't sufficient to process those returns. Of additional concern, that this labor-intensive process that I think is disproportionately relied upon is 285 times more expensive than a digital one, according to TIGTA. So this is a double loss where taxpayers are paying a lot more for services that aren't meeting their needs. I'm going to ask you, because my time's coming to an end, if confirmed, will you commit to promptly providing me an answer, which I don't expect you to have right now, to the following question? Assuming the IRS had a working, fully digital platform for taxpayer inquiries and correspondence, how much less would the IRS have spent in FY20, FY21, or FY22 to perform that function?
I will work with the team to figure out what the best potential way to answer that question and come up with the most robust estimate.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All done? All done?